we're about to get started here. Got a really excited guest. Woo! We're live. What's up, everybody?
Hey, guys.
All right. Hey, welcome back to the road to Global Entrepreneurship Week here in Las Vegas. My name is Elias Benjaloon, and I'm here with Megan Buckley. We're the community organizers for Global Entrepreneurship Week in Vegas. And really what we want to do with this is, connect, folks of Vegas together, build our ecosystem, show the world what Vegas is like, but also connect Vegas to the rest of the entrepreneurial ecosystem around the world. And we've got one of our community partners for Tech Alley over in Denver, a serial entrepreneur, investor, serial author. Joseph, welcome to the stream.
Hey, guys. I'm glad to be here with audio and video working.
Me too. Could you give everyone a quick introduction about yourself?
Yeah. So you've got entrepreneurs, you've got serial entrepreneurs, and then you have what I call myself as a startup addict. I've got 28 tech companies, 2 nonprofits, 8 small businesses. I'm working on a coffee concept, and then I've got all kinds of outliers that I don't even count.
Dude, insane. Super insane. Where do you find the time?
So a lot of these are automated, and then it kind of goes down to a core belief of mine that 100% of us were taught to be employees. From the first time you took your first steps and your parents were proud of you, or the time that you moved in your mom's stomach and everybody got excited, we learned that if we did something, we got rewarded. And so it's really hard to break that mindset of I've got to do something in order to get paid. And so entrepreneurs, I think, fall into that trap. We create jobs for ourselves instead of owning businesses.
Yeah, that's 100% on point. And I know I've found myself in that space in the past and have worked with other people of that same thing of, yeah, you just created a job for yourself. Congrats. And if that's not what you wanted, then yeah, we got to figure out the steps to get you out of that. I mean, some people, they're fine with that. They're okay with kind of creating their own job because they get more freedom and flexibility than they had prior. Where it's just interesting about kind of that pathway, right? Of, well, but why did you get into it in the first place? And what was the end goal? And so I would love for you to kind of speak more into that as far as, the people that maybe find themselves owning their own job that really didn't want that. And so what would be your tips or steps to navigate that?
So first of all, you've kind of got to think about like that mindset. So again, this was deeply ingrained in us. Before birth, we were taught work. We were taught that the more I tap dance, the more I achieve, the more I do. In fact, I went to an event and Techstars handed out books to people that said, do more faster. And I was like, F you, TechCrunch, or Techstars. I was like, we already want to do too much. We're entrepreneurs and we just can't get this out of our brains, and we've got to make this thing come to life. And I was like, how dare you tell us we need to do more faster?
Oh, man. I really love this topic because, I see that reel on social media. Not sure how active you're on social media, but there's this trending reel, and it's like, I quit my 9 to 5 so I can control my time, and now I work 24/7.
Yeah.
Right. And that is.
And there's pride in that.
Right. Yeah. Well, I think it was the painful thing. It's
yeah.
But yes, there's pride in that, of course. Take pride in the work. I take pride in my work and in the hustle spirit. But I kind of am one of those folks that is working way too much. And and I've been thinking more about automating parts of my business, and I've been automating parts of my business, but then also thinking about like just completely automated businesses. So I'll tell you some ideas, but really what I would like to learn from you is maybe you could share some of the actual businesses you're doing or stuff like that. Like for example, and shoot, if this was your business, then I would be, blown away. But there were some of these image generator apps that came out into the market, right? And so Remini is an example. There was another one that blew up with the 90s kids version. There was
like the school photos.
Yeah. And it's like $3 or $4, to get started on a base plan to get some images. But that to me is like an entirely automated business, because the deliverable is generated by the AI, and you can do limited customer support. And so, I've been thinking about those types of businesses, or just anything that I could fulfill in as much of an automated manner as possible, or leverage VAs to help with the delivery. I mean, what is your experience with that? Is your business essentially like fully automated through AI and VAs, or what does a fully automated business mean to you?
So I think one thing that people forget as you start out your business, you've got this great cupcake recipe, and you just think that you're the best cupcake maker in the world, and your friends told you are, and so then you go get in debt and you open up a cupcake business, and your grand opening's awesome, and all your friends turn up, and then the next day it's dead, and then you got to start figuring out, oh shoot, how do I get customers coming back in here? We forget the marketing part. Even if you're a tech company, we get all excited about the code or the problem we're solving, and for a small influx, you get some people that show up. We forget about the marketing part. We forget how do you automate the marketing. And so what you find in tech companies is they typically go out and they raise for an MVP. And then they come back, and now they have some semblance, or they should have some semblance of cost of acquisition. And then they come back and they say, okay, well, we'll sell you more of our company because we now know the math, and it costs us $1.71 to get a customer, but our profit margin on that is $18. And so if we only had $1 million, and we could go buy more customers. So one of my tech companies is Join InCrowd digital contact cards. And this is a competitor with, Dot and Popple and these guys. Now, all of those guys, I'm sure you guys are probably familiar with Dot or Popple or one of the other digital card companies.
I've actually printed some digital cards myself and sold some to some clients, and use that, but have not done it at scale. Like, I've just done it as like a gift. I use it, give it to my clients, and some of the members that I work with.
The problem is so with Dot and Popple, if I scan your card, the first thing that pops up, it asks me for my name and my email. It wants to capture that info. We launched in 2021, and we launched in February 2021. By about June, we were looking at the data, and it turns out that our peak user time was Thursday through Saturday, 9 p.m. till 3 in the morning. Who was our client?
Young folks that were out at night, that were probably connecting on a more social basis.
Yeah.
Not business people. You go out to a bar, you meet somebody, you want to connect with them, you want to swap contact info. The typical exchange is, hey, it was so great meeting you. We should hang out here. Take my number. It's blah, 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 blah. Wait, what? Hold on. Here, type it in, right? Or you click your phone. We have your QR code sitting on your screensaver, on your lock screen, and you just scan the QR code, and the primary button is send text. And so now you're texting, and you could go in that night, you can change the number to a fake number, because this isn't email driven, this is text driven. So you could change up that number, and then now that person, you can like, oh, you know what, I actually want to connect with this person. I'm going to change it back. Yeah. So where Popple and these guys got it wrong, and I'm sure that there's a huge business audience out there, and on our enterprise, we've got Nike, we've got 25,000 Nike employees on there, We've got a real estate agent out of North Carolina that's got, at last I checked, 1,200 agents using our platform. So enterprise, it is there, but our primary user is a person who's out at a bar and just wants to swap text messages faster.
That's cool.
Yeah, I like
So
that.
So it's a QR code on the screensaver. So there's not a physical product that needs to be delivered. The QR code can be generated. The landing page can be generated. So it's a bunch of automated rules, essentially. That's really great.
And as far as our growth, we're at well over 1 million users. We've spent, I like to say no money on marketing, but that's not true. My friend Marta hosted this like Zoom thing with like 6 people, and I paid her $160 to sponsor her event. So since 2020, we've spent $160 to get over 1 million users.
That's nice.
That math does not check out.
Built in.
Well, it's not. It's very simple, and it's something that we just don't think about. And I wish we would more in the startup space and in the small business space. Right away, the marketing's built in. So if I were to hand you my business card, Vistaprint's not part of that equation.
Right.
So there's no opportunity for you to see, oh yeah, I forgot I got to order more Vistaprint cards. There's no way to click on the Vistaprint card to upgrade and place your order. On mine, I'm always there. Every exchange, and anytime somebody thinks, wow, this was easy, then they hit the little icon and they can create their own. And they can create their own in under a couple of seconds.
Oh, nice.
That's really cool.
Yeah. And so, I mean, even just taking just a lot of the ideas with that and just applying them just generally in business. And so you were saying too, where you feel like, somebody has a product, somebody has a service. And so there's those gaps that they don't really clarify when they're bringing something to market. And so I'd love for you to just kind of speak into like your advice to that or experience with that.
Yeah. And again, I go to 1 million cups every week. And just this past week, we had 2 people and they had products that they were developing. And as founders, we tend to get stuck on the product development part. And my advice to product founders is hand it off to a marketing person. There comes a point where you're like, okay, I don't really know how to sell this. Let me hand this off to a marketing person. My josephhaecker.com website, which is business strategy and advisory. So I could pull up 1 million coaches' websites, and they're all going to show you, like, oh, you need to do this, and you should do that, and blah, blah, blah. And it's going to be a scrolly page full of all their offers, and they're going to have lead funnels and all this stuff. The primary driver for my website, and I launched the josephhaecker.com website, I registered in March of this year. I imported my 2,300 contacts from LinkedIn. And that's how I got my first email list going on that website. I'm at over 26,000 subscribers now. And I don't pay for marketing. What I did was I included as part of the website Ignite Business Insider. It's like a digital magazine where you could go on there, you could answer an interview questionnaire, and then you can publish it. It goes live on my site, it creates a page, and it sends you an email that says, congratulations, your article's been published. Here's the URL. Share it on social media, your email, your website. It's all about you. It has nothing to do with me. There's no plug for me. It's not a testimonial. It's all about you. On average, when we get a new post on there, on average, each of those articles brings me an additional 5,200 eyeballs to my website. And those are people that I don't know. We often get stuck in everybody in sales gets stuck in this. They sell to their mom and their cousin and then their aunt and their neighbor, and then they burn out their friends, and then they don't know who to sell to.
Yeah.
Get outside of your network fast.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's super brilliant, Joseph. I love how you have growth loops just built directly into this. I took at the last company I worked at, they paid for me to take the Reforge Reforge Growth Marketers MBA, and the big topic has been on like growth loops and implementing them. And so I think about that, in terms of the work that I do, but haven't, fully implemented, as much as you've done in the automated business world. What's your like technical background? I mean, are you a coder yourself? What are some of the skill sets that allow you to do this type of work?
So I'm not, and if you guys could see my tattoos better, and you guys are out of Vegas, so here's my Vegas tattoo. My background was I was a product designer. I designed light fixtures for hotels and casinos. So I did all the lighting at the Cosmopolitan. I did the 80% of all the major decorative over at the Wynn Encore. It basically, if you throw a dart at the Vegas Strip, I've got light fixtures in all those projects, except for Resorts World. Circa, I did not do, but I was at the time dating the director of design for Circa, so I had some. I whispered in her ear. Yeah. In fact, when you walk into Circa, either end, I believe, there's these big giant glass mosaic wall murals. That is my friend Allison Eden. I call her the Lady Gaga of tile. I introduced Alice and Allison got that project. So I did have influence, but I do not have light fixtures there. I went from that into my first tech startup. I failed miserably at it. I approached launching a tech company, like launching a small business. I took my money and I paid for people, and I rented an office, and I went broke. I went live with that in around January, February-ish of 2012, and by August of 2013, I had $100 left in my account. I paid everybody off, and I was debt-free, but I was poor.
Man, that's rough.
I regrouped, and I met Marcy Moritz. She was the founder of Bright White, the tooth whitening system. I discovered the startup ecosystem in Orange County. I started getting out to events and networking. We launched in 2014 Design Wall. It was a social platform for the design industry. In-house, I was able to recruit the brand strategist from Adobe, the director of marketing for the Honda Center, the president of Tech Coast Angels, the CTO of Gateway Computers, the CFO of Olaclip, UI UX from Auto Trader, developers from Google, Nortel Systems, Toyota, and Amazon. We had a stellar in-house team, and this is where I learned the value of diving into the local startup ecosystem.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so that really just makes me curious of, with your evolution with that and the journey, what was it about Tech Alley that really kind of just like made you curious and wanted you to get involved?
So I would say, having failed at a startup and approaching it as a small business, there's a clear distinction between path to funding a small business and a startup. And in 2012, there was a lot of mantras that went around, and I didn't know this at the time, but a lot of those mantras came from Brad Feld's startup communities. Things like you didn't need to get to the top of the mountain to help the next person. And a lot of people poured into me that didn't need to. There was no reason why some of these people, and I've run in weird circles. I know, like Mike Sievert, the CEO of T-Mobile, and like weird circles, people I shouldn't know because they took the time. So when I see people paying mentors and paying coaches and doing all this stuff, you know what? Just go ask people. Go ask people outside of your weight class to help you. And from there, from the tech company, I went into a podcast that cleared 3.2 million views in 2018. From that, I went back into more tech and developing out more tech companies. I've got 1 foot squarely planted in the design community and 1 foot squarely planted in tech. And I would say right now with all my stuff, I still advise about 24 other startups. I meet with people every week for free just to advise on anything from funding to formulating their product. With Tech Alley, it was a program. It already existed, so I didn't have to go pioneer another thing. But giving back, fostering up the ecosystem. I like to say that I'm not a founder advocate. I'm not an investor advocate. I think investors should be pouring into the ecosystem more, helping fund different initiatives, helping fund more events, and I call it creating better deals upstream. So if investors invested in smaller activities, smaller meetups, and just pitch events, and if investors invested in those types of activities, we'd have better educated people upstream. So I consider myself more of a startup, an ecosystem advocate, where if we have the ecosystem working right, then we all thrive.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I mean, and that's what we're doing here with Global Entrepreneurship Week. It's that same thing of, again, plugging people in, bringing resources together, having conversations together, and seeing what can we make happen together.
Yeah, on that note, I mean, one of the things that we're really big about is, leveraging this like series to get feedback from entrepreneurs and ecosystem builders on the Vegas ecosystem in terms of like what is working, what people like, but also where we can grow. Like, what should we be doing in the next year ahead of the next Global Entrepreneurship Week to, make this ecosystem better for everyone. And so 2-part question there, like, what do you like about the Vegas ecosystem from what you've seen? And, what are some things that you think we're missing that we should be looking at?
So I'm active in a lot of different ecosystems, and I'll tell you, all ecosystems, all of them, have the same problems. They have a discoverability problem, and they have a fragmentation problem. So you land at the airport, and you're an entrepreneur. Where do you go? And there are no road signs. There's no road sign saying go here. As far as fragmentation goes, let's say that an entrepreneur finds a spot, and my battery is overheating. So let's say I find a spot. I find a meetup, and I discover that spot. The fragmentation happens where that local founder or that local ecosystem leader doesn't know the other resources. I find that a lot of times the event organizers live in silos. They want you to come to their event, but they don't promote the other people's events. If I had a wish for ecosystems, it would be that the event organizers took the time to get to know the other event organizers, that communities created more events for event organizers to connect them and help them connect each other. Leverage the human network. The other thing is that I find a lot of the times, whether it's schools, out here we've got CU Boulder and CU Denver, and they've got all kinds of great entrepreneurship programs. You guys have UNLV with some great entrepreneurship programs. The problem is they tend to compete with each other. Everything should point to UNLV. Everything should point to CU Boulder. The city thinks everything should point to the city. What you want, and I've been in the running for a few different positions to kind of lead this type of effort, and the advice I give the people that I've interviewed with is fairly simple. You don't need another person with another program. You need a person with their ear to the track who goes, you know what, Bob over there or Sarah who's throwing this one event, this would be really good if they just had the resources. Let me tie them into resources, and let's put some rocket fuel on that event. Let's really get that going, and then let's get some influential people around them to help them. You don't see that. You see community organizers just out there spinning their wheels, trying their best. They feel like they don't get no attention. Nobody comes in and saves them, and then the big guy takes their idea. You get like your tech stars who goes, oh, that was a cool little accelerator program. We're going to make that part of our program. And so the little guy just gets stamped out. You need a person in ecosystems whose fundamental job is to tie that person into resources. Not the entrepreneur, but the event organizers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really excellent, Joseph. I think I would love to, take you up on a one-on-one if that's okay, like in the near future, share some of the ecosystem work I'm doing for, through Promise Startups and in partnership with UNLV. Yeah, I feel like you've just got so much knowledge that you can impart with us. Is there? I know your phone's kind of overheating, and I want to make sure that we have a good opportunity for you to share how people can connect with you. So how can people get connected with you?
Well, I did want to plug one more thing
Yes.
that we were kind of we talked about a little bit yesterday, and I held up the book. So through Tech Alley, all ecosystems are really good about supporting the founder from their pitch to their rounds of equity and distribution of equity, but we don't really support the founder after they failed. What happens to the person who was saying that they were going to be the next unicorn, and all of a sudden you don't see them anymore and their business failed? So through Tech Alley, we've launched Founder Rehab. It's like a 12-step plus 2. Now the statistics for a former founder, a second-time founder is 24% more likely to succeed on the second go-round. A third-time founder is 64% more likely to succeed. God forbid that we take a founder who fails and they think that they're a failure, and then they go take their day job and they just don't know, they don't get back out into the system. We need to do more to support our former founders, the people that fall out. Let's get them back in there. They now know what not to do. There was a company called Dot and Bow out of the Valley that infamously blew $35 million in a summer. And the founders of that were Ben Parsa and Anthony Soho. And they licked their wounds for several years. And I think it's Anthony Soho. Anthony went on to become the head of e-commerce for Walmart. And you would probably know this because when TikTok was teetering, and we were looking at who was going to buy TikTok, what U.S. company was going to buy TikTok, Walmart threw their name in the hat, and the media said, "Well, why Walmart?" It's because Anthony, when he launched his Dot and Bow company, he felt that the future of design collaboration, or the future of e-commerce, would be a social platform. And so that's why they made the play for TikTok. So now imagine if he never licked his wounds and never got back out there. Walmart's e-commerce platform is booming right now. So as ecosystems, I would say, one, cross that bridge and meet regularly with other ecosystem event organizers. You'll find that there's only a few of them, and then when I say a few, like here in Denver, I know of at least 68. So get together more regularly. Do whatever you got to do. Get those people together, because they're bringing people together. The goal is not to get everybody thinking the same, but the goal is to say, hey, you know what? I know a drink sponsor that can help, and I know a venue that can help. And at the event organizer level, let's shore that up. Another, just a quick little pet peeve. We tend to think of students as interns. So we've got what happens on campus with students, and then we've got what goes on out here in the startup world. And we think of them as two different things. Students are amazing. They have such amazing resources. They don't have to worry about food because they eat at the campus. They don't have to worry about a bed because they got a dorm at the campus. They've got professors that they can run things through. As a founder, sometimes we can't even keep our internet on, So don't look at students as free labor. Don't look at them as interns. There should be a very good And I haven't seen this anywhere yet. The college campuses have to get beyond the everything should happen on campus thing. College campuses have to quit thinking tuition based, and they got to start thinking of their entrepreneurship programs as how do we connect our students with all these great resources with founders out there who have the lived experience.
I love that. I want to share this note from the new UNLV president, Keith Whitfield. He talks a lot about bringing the UNLV, taking down the invisible walls of the campus and bringing UNLV's resources of professors and students and deploying them into the Valley. And, one of the steps they did to do that was partner with one of the nonprofits I work with, Nevada Partners, and put an unofficial UNLV campus on the historic West Side that they're going to start building out to. And so the intention is there, but there's definitely a long way to go. And universities have a huge potential to be centers for economic development for our city, by bridging those gaps. And so I look forward to talking a lot more, Joseph. I think there's a lot that we can get into together and learn about. How can folks get in touch with you? Oh, okay. Well, folks, we just had an amazing conversation with Joseph Haecker. You can go to his website, and we'll drop in a link for that. But stay tuned. We got another interview coming up with some members from the AAPI Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah, stay tuned.
Woo!